Good morning, beautiful world travelers. I just got this look from Big Sexy like he thought I was going to forget to start talking when I needed to start talking because I've done it 2 out of the last 3 times we've done this. I've just been somewhere else. And this is Judge Mentalist, one of your hosts here for our fine podcast. We are bringing you all of the wonderful digital nomad updates from your host, Big Sexy.
What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening whenever this is hitting your ear holes. I hope that it is good. Out and about, doing thing, making magic happen here in Malaga. And a lot's happened since last we spoke.
Same. I mean, my stuff is all more of the same, but lots of it.
Mine is slight. There's some slight differences, not so much on our front, but as the environment that we are currently living. We're in Benalmadena, Malaga, and we're loving the area. And since we last spoke, I went to a barbecue picnic and met some more folks. Had some friends. Met Aniku, who I'm shouting out now mainly because she has since left back to Hungary. Mm-hmm. And met Magda and Hasna and Ella and Vlad. Also, Luciana was there. And I think that's everybody that was there. And me, I was there. So we had a cute picnic at a little local park up here. It was wonderful. And then that morning, before the picnic, was my dear friend Jane's birthday. If you're on the Patreon right now, you're like, why isn't that other person speaking? Because they can see Jane is sitting right next to me. So everybody say hi to Jane.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be back.
Yay. You guys remember Jane was on the episode The 2-Year Itch, about changing things and moving stuff. How long you've been in Malaga now?
Since May.
Since May. Okay. So we got May and the next May, and then the May after that, we'll see if she's still around. But hopefully she's found her home, especially since she recently, and by recently I mean yesterday as of this recording, moved to Benalmadena.
Yeah, we're neighbors now. 20 minutes walk away.
Yeah. So we're here, and I said, well, since you're a neighbor, now you got to be a guest on the podcast. Now you got to come on the podcast and hang out and do all the things. And so here she is.
Like a real full-on guest, finally, which is not on you, it's on me. Getting right. All the whole crew all in one place.
Yeah, finally get all 3 of us together. This is not just one of your another bonus episode. This is this is episode 59. We're recording an official episode with a guest, and I think this is the first time we've had a guest in person. Like, I don't mean virtually.
So
I mean, the guest is right in front of me.
I'll disagree with you only because Nilla counts.
Yeah, we did Nilla count. So yeah, she was there with us twice.
And that was the first time that we were. Is that the only episode that you and I have done where we were?
No, we've done 2 episodes. We did one in New York, and then the other one we did at your hotel were you the Venetian?
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think you were staying at the Venetian while your lovely wife was packing.
That's right. Yeah,
we recorded an episode. So we've had 2 hosty toasty livey divey in person episodes,
which I guess tracks for a digital nomad podcast. You wouldn't expect,
especially when one of your digital nomad. And this, of course, was well before April, because the only way now, if we have it in person, is if you come out to Spain or I go back to the U.S. And I have a feeling the first thing will happen before the second.
Yeah, I was about to ask, when are you coming to Spain now?
Here's the thing, and we kind of talked about this on the last episode, of possibly trying to extend my Egypt trip early to do a show there. I ran this by Bernardo. Bernardo is thumbs up because Bernardo's kind of like me. Like Bernardo definitely has that, yeah, sure, let's do it mindset. We'll figure it all out. And I was very clear with him. I said, full disclosure, at best, this is going to be a break-even, pay for the flight and lodging venture. Don't expect this to be a paid gig in the sense that you make money. He's like, I don't care. We get to go do a show in Spain. So running it through the other channels of importance, there is some hesitation. So I think what we need to do is set up one of those, whether it be like a Google form or some way to track interest where we can ask a few questions. Because one of the concerns that exists with the hypnosis portion of the show is the hypnosis. I mean, Jane, what is your birth language? What is the first language you learned?
What's your natural language?
What's your natural language? I don't know the right terminology.
Latvian.
Okay.
Latvian.
And how many languages do you speak?
So I speak Latvian, Russian, English, French. Yeah, and now Spanish.
Teensy tiny bit of Spanish.
Yeah, a little bit.
Un poco.
And when I speak to you, or when Big Sexy speaks to you, do you just understand or do you translate what we're saying?
No, I understand. Well, now I've been speaking and thinking English and working in English basically for 6 years.
Okay. So fully fluent.
Yeah.
No translation happening in your head. Because if you were to speak to me in what little Spanish you know, which probably matches the amount of Spanish that I remember, I'm translating in my head.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, you're saying things in Spanish if you were to say them in Spanish, and then I've got to convert that. I need people hearing me and not translating to be able to be successful at this point in my career in the hypnosis portion of the show. And certainly when people are under giving suggestions, there can't be a translation going on. Otherwise, they just sit there. I might be able to get you under.
You're giving suggestions. And then, like, I don't know what they said.
Yes, I don't know what you mean.
No habla inglés.
So I guess
English.
Right. So again, the getting people under is a mindset more than it is the words that I'm saying. Like I could hum somebody into hypnosis if they knew that that's what we were doing.
Right.
But then the suggestions come in, and then it's all I don't.
Would that be considered a mind hummer?
We can take that a lot of different directions, and that'd be a different podcast.
No, that'd still be this podcast.
It could be this podcast. So I guess really assessing what kind of interest there would be if we, what are the sizes of the theaters? And
have you ever been inside Teatro Cervantes?
No.
No, I mean, no. I as we were talking about this last, I started thinking about the different theater spaces that I've seen, at least the outside of here in Malaga. One is Teatro Cervantes. We used to live by there. Our listeners remember when we lived in Malaga Center for a while. We lived right behind Teatro Cervantes. There's an improv group in town that I'm pretty sure knows about some theatrical spaces. There's a small, tiny little tourism space. Have you been? We went there last when you came down for your birthday.
Yeah.
We went to Castillo Bill. The Bill.
Oh yeah, that's
the
nice.
Bill. Right, it's a little nice, a little sitting area. I don't know how well that would work for a hypnosis show though, because it's all floor. Right, there isn't a
the Charm City Fringe show that we did was off the floor.
Oh, okay, cool. So
weren't fine.
Then that might work as well. I don't know how they use it as a performance space because right now it's like a little tourism center.
Okay.
But again, it is something that I plan on going over and inquiring about as we get down the line and talk about this. Okay, let's really get some We put a spreadsheet together and say, okay, here's the venue, here's what they're offering, here's what they need, that kind of logistics, as it were.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely possible. That would probably be May 8th or 9th ish. I realized that in searching to find out, in talking to the wife about this, American has already changed our flights. So we're getting into Cairo later than anticipated. So now I've got to go to the itinerary for the events and find out, hey, am I getting in too late? Do I need to change these flights anyway?
Right.
So I may end up having to change my flights. So, I would love to know, I guess, as far as the logistics of us exploring this, and figuring out whether there's an actual potential for it. I would probably arbitrarily put January 1st as kind of a deadline to say,
Okay.
hey, we're going to explore this, or just scrap it and maybe come back to it at another time.
Right.
Just because there's a lot of planning that goes into it. Needing to change flights is not the biggest deal. That's the least of which. But obviously pushing it and making sure that it's a full theater wherever we are.
Right. So we'll definitely get some at least feelers out for locations. I think between the two of us, we know enough people who live here that we can reach out and be like, hey, if we went to go see a show, where's a place you've gone to see a show that's a good show? Yeah. And again, I can reach out to my friend Mar, who has performed here. That was a little dance theater, but she would also have an idea of what's around. Remember, Mar was a bonus episode. There is peace and chaos with her and Dhruv. So yeah, check out that episode as well.
Most probably Malaga Center would be the best, I think. But when it comes to language, there are so many people with really good level of English, so I don't think that would be an issue.
And I don't need the entire audience to fit that classification.
Yeah.
I just need those who choose to volunteer to be in that mindset.
Yeah, that's
and one of the questions that I would put on the questionnaire as well probably would be, have you ever attended one of these shows, hypnosis specifically? Have you volunteered and gone under? Because those folks are like Big Sexy, you'd be choice because you've done it before.
I've done it before. I've done it before, right.
And not that we planned on making this a what is, what isn't kind of Mythbuster episode on hypnosis, but it's not like I don't hypnotize people. People hypnotize themselves. My role.
Hypnotized?
No, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe just tell a little bit about it, and then we can, if someone asks, we can, kind of explain, because I have no idea what happens.
Yeah, so my role in the process is really as a guide to help people relax and get to that point where basically you're thinking every day with your conscious mind. And that's, when you're looking around and you're processing, visuals and sounds and everything, that's largely your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is kind of behind the scenes. Your subconscious mind is breathing for you, beating your heart at night. It's what is causing you to dream. And what happens in hypnosis is we basically say, hey, take a nap to your conscious mind, allow your subconscious mind to take over. It's a world where logic no longer matters. Up is not necessarily up, down is not necessarily down. The sky may or may not be blue. It all depends on what we paint it. And everything else in the scene is what we paint it. So
you're like a tour guide through the mind.
Pretty much. And
through the subconscious.
Through the subconscious. And I mean, so I love, obviously, in building and growing this show, I love having the opportunity to get video testimonials from volunteers, or really anybody, but especially volunteers after the show, because those primary reason, they serve as a great marketing tool. You may have already seen a few of them that I posted from this last show.
Yes.
Another one's going to get posted today. And they're just really great endorsements for the process. They're really great endorsements for the show. But additionally, and I don't get this every time, but additionally, I get a little bit of a nugget and an insight in what that person was feeling and experiencing while they were under hypnosis.
Right.
This past weekend, I had somebody who, during one of the routines that I do, I'd say in about half the shows, is one where with their eyes closed, a movie is projecting on the back of their eyelids, and it's a multi-phase sequence where first it's the funniest movie they've ever seen, and they become ticklish. Then it becomes the scary movie that they've ever seen, scariest movie that they've ever seen. And then sometimes, depending on the group, depending on the feeling of the room, because a lot of this is really just kind of feeling out what's there. A lot of the routines that I do sometimes and not all the time have to do with who do I have on stage and how far can they go? How well are they picking up on everything? I took it to the level where they're now they're not watching this scary movie, they are acting in it. In fact, they are auditioning to be the scream track for the movie in Hollywood, and then I get them all to scream.
You ever had anybody pee themselves?
Not yet. And I thought I was getting close maybe with one this past week, and she's the one that came to me and was like, I was there. I literally was being chased. I was running through the woods. And if you saw me reach up, I was actually grabbing my grandfather's shotgun to turn around and take care of business. And just being able to kind of know what people are experiencing. Like we got one, it wasn't a video, but I'm working on getting it in video from the Fringe Festival. Bernardo, my show partner, invited a friend of his who brought a friend. Bernardo and I do not know this friend. The friend volunteered, was the best.
Bernardo's friend, or it's a friend of Bernardo's friend?
Friend of Bernardo's friend. So Bernardo and I don't know this person. I mean, we met them that night. We didn't ahead of time. And I had overheard her, and I think we talked about this maybe on the pod. I had overheard her in the street afterwards talking to somebody about her experience. And then a few weeks later, Bernardo got a screenshot of a text between his friend and her that basically she was like, didn't feel like I was under. The whole time I felt like I was just playing along. But then, and when it got to the point near the end where he said that we were going to be showgirls and start dancing, I thought to myself, there's no way in hell I'm doing this. I don't dance. I'm not a dancer. Then the music started and up I was. And this is a gal that took her jacket off and threw it across the stage or the floor. This is the show we were doing off the floor.
She went ham. That's right.
And was one of the best ones that we had. So I'm really hoping to be able to circle around. And Bernardo says we'll definitely be able to do it. To be able to circle around and get her to do that on video for us, because
get a video testimonial, or have her take her jacket off and throw it around and do the can dance.
Yeah, whatever. All of the above.
Both.
All right, cool. Both.
All of the above.
Does it always work though? Have you had times when it just doesn't work?
So it doesn't always work for everybody. I would say that my hit rate on stage is somewhere between 80 and 90%. So like, for example, I had 6 people at Saturday's show come up and volunteer, and I kept 4 of those 6 for the whole show. So, and that's great. Like if I've got 4 or 5, I only really want 4 or 5 people up there. I don't want more than 6 is probably like the most that I can manage, because it's me up there making sure that these people are safe. Now, for the most part, and the vast majority of the show, I'm giving the whole group that's up there suggestions, and they're all doing things together. Some of the common ones, and none of these are going to be a mystery because you've likely seen them if you've ever seen a hypnosis show.
Have you ever seen any hypnosis show?
If you've ever seen any hypnosis show, you've seen people do like a bodybuilder pose, things like that. My mentor circles back to that bodybuilder pose and brings it up several times. Like anytime that he kind of wants to just put a break in the action, he'll just give the bodybuilder pose command and let him go at it.
Nice. Have you had anybody do the Oscar Mayer Wiener theme song?
In what context? Because and anytime anybody mentions something in the way that you're mentioning it now, I perk up to be like, what is this? Is this something new I can do? Because I'm still new enough at doing this that I'm like, hey, what new things can we do? Like I actually reached
So,
out to an improv group here to be like, hey, can we work together? Effectively, I need idea people and writers, people to work with me, not
right.
feed me stuff, but
You
like,
also need to, if they offer classes, you also need to take those classes.
yes, for sure.
Yeah. Look, I got you on a cruise ship. I'm going to get you in an improv class.
Done. I've never said no to either.
True that. Okay. So, I would tell I'm sure I told the story before, but I'll tell it again, since you probably haven't heard the story yet. So, I was at Knott's Berry Farm. I think it was either Knott's Berry Farm or Magic Mountain. I was at one of those places, and I'd gotten hypnotized. And I went through the whole show. You did the hot, do the cold. You lean on, you're strong, you protect, whatever. And then unbeknownst to me, he put us all under and gave us all suggestions. And then woke us up individually.
Okay.
Gave us individual suggestions. And then woke us up and sent us back to our seats. Right. And so we are back in our audience, back with our friends. And as he's closing out his show, he starts saying whatever phrase is going to be said in order to trigger that suggestion. And it was a little risque. I know he made one dude have an orgasm. He made one girl recite the national anthem. But as a recital, not sing it, but as a recital. And by there was like 8 to 10 of us on stage. So when he got to the fourth person and made the fourth person do something, I looked at all my friends and was like, what am I going to do?
Because they know you don't.
They know. I have no idea, but I know something's coming. And I don't know what my trigger word's going to be. And so you're kind of sitting there with a little trepidation, whatever. And he saved me for last.
Oh boy.
Which tends to happen to me. And my trigger word was hot dog. He said something along the lines like, I'm going to go get me a delicious hot dog. That triggered me to come back on stage and sing, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. No. It's the other one. It's the other one. My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to sing it every day. And if you ask me while I'll say that Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A. I ran to the stage. I rolled onto the stage. I didn't take the stairs.
Wow.
I pushed up and did a tumble roll onto the stage, popped up, facing upstage, spun up because I'm a performer. It's what, right? It's in my, he got free reign in my brain, right? Spun around and did like the most America's Got Talent rendition of that song that I could muster.
Is there a video? I would watch it.
Right. If there is, this was really before the popularity of cell phones and cell phone cameras. So there might be, but if there is, I haven't seen it.
So I will tell you, for posterity and for anybody who's interested in listening, I record every single one of my shows.
Yes.
And now we've figured out a way, a beautiful unplanned segue, by the way, to let me promote some of my own shit here, which I wasn't really planning on doing, but I will. We have now figured out the best way to make those videos available, because it's just Bernardo and I doing this show. Right. Sometimes significant others are attending the show, but they're just there as spectators and supporters.
Right. They're not your tech. We're
certainly not having them do tech stuff. So like in Vegas, Kevin's show, which is in the same showroom every night that he does it, he's got his video recorder that has the SD card in it, but then it also has an output into a bank of like 6 or 8 USB drives. So it's recording like 7 or 8 copies of the show all at the same time. When the show's over, you can yank those out, bring them to the merch counter, and he sells them to, anybody that wants to just remember the show, because the whole thing is a spectacle. I mean, it's an amazing spectacle. You are legitimately performing miracles on stage to everybody who's watching it. You also have anywhere between 4 to 6 or 7 people that were under the whole time, so they didn't watch it. They were
They were
part
in
of
it.
I would for sure want to see it. I mean, you don't remember most of it, right?
And if for the most part, if they, for whatever reason, don't want it, somebody, a friend or a family member that they were there with definitely wants it. So it's
I have a couple of mine. Like I've been hypnotized several times, and I have right now. I mean, they're still back in the States right now. I didn't bring them with me. But I have a couple copies of, like, when I was on Mark Savard, shout out to Mark Savard in Las Vegas, his hypnotist show. I got copies of that, and I think I got copies of another one of the theme park Halloween shows that I was a part of as well. That's why I don't think I have a copy of the Oscar Mayer, because I definitely would have bought that.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah. No matter, I would have definitely bought that, because I would love to have seen that show.
So yeah, now we've figured out, because Patreon, for those of you who don't know, has 2 new features. One of the features is that they have a free tier. So I actually just posted one of anybody who's interested in joining our Patreon, please go to bullwithabutthole.com and just join the free version. We welcome you to join the free version, and we'll put content in the free version. In fact, I just posted a video of one of the testimonials from the hypnosis show on the free version. Now we're going to post more content on the paid version,
which is
for
$1
for that big old $1.
Yeah.
But come on, jump on board. You're going to see stuff. You're going to get connected.
The free version is going to get like your testimonial videos. If I do my daily walkabouts, those will go up on the free version.
Anything that you would post on general social media, and all it is really is a way. So there's actually 3 things, now that I think about it, that Patreon's recently launched. They also have an app, and you as a patron can download this app on whatever app store, and it's free. So it's kind of like you've got your loud, noisy social media channels, whatever they are, whether it be Twitter or X or Facebook or Instagram, where you've got to catch what's happening in the feed as it's happening. Think of the Patreon app, especially with the free tier, as a way to really tailor your experience so that it's just stuff that you've selected.
Right. Patreon sponsor us.
So we've kind of set up, there is a paid tier on the Between Two Minds Patreon, but there's no benefit there yet. So don't sign up for the paid tier. They just default put a paid tier in when we set this up.
Right.
If you are interested in following what's going on with the show, if you're interested in seeing any of these updates, many of which are going to get posted here because I do it on ours all the time anyway, patreon.com/between2minds. We don't have a catchy little thing to send people to, not quite yet. Although I might get one of those soon.
You will, because you like that kind of shit.
From there, I do. From there, you'll be able to see, and you'll the marketplace for buying the shows is there. So now we've got the ability to say on stage, hey, we're going to have a copy of this available for purchase after the show, which we already have, t-shirts and stuff like that we send people back, and we send people back that have been on stage so that we can kind of exchange contact information. That way, if they want to come to a show and see it in the future, anybody that was on stage, I will comp their ticket to a future show as long as I have the ability to do it. If I don't have the ability to comp a ticket, I'll just buy the damn ticket, because if you were the show, you deserve to see a version of the show in the future. So now we can get them signed up for the free version of Patreon and say, hey, within 24 hours, or depending on where we are, you're going to be able to pop on there. This show will be available for $20, and then they'll have it digitally forever.
That'll be awesome. Now, Now, change gears a little bit because we have our guest here,
Yes, of
and
No,
course.
I'm very interested, like, because I haven't heard this any of this before. So,
yes. So, have you been to? Well, I'm going to keep it kind of in the
yeah,
context
yeah,
that we're
yeah.
talking about. Have you been to any shows here in Malaga?
No, not really, not
No,
yet.
any
No,
entertainment?
no. I went to Sevilla and I went to the flamenco show. That was the
The
only one.
only performance
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Do you normally go to performances? Do you like going to performances and stuff
I
like that?
do. Well, I did in Latvia, back in my country, because my mom really likes theater, so we used to go a lot.
Okay.
But here I haven't been. Yeah, obviously, also it's the language barrier a bit, because
Because most of
mostly
it's going
it's
to be in
yeah, yeah,
Spanish. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to find some English speaking theater, and then we'll create some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there should be. I just haven't
Yeah.
really looked into it, to be honest, yet.
How's your so you just recently moved to Benalmadena.
Yes.
How are you? But yesterday, so I mean, you haven't quite acclimated
I haven't
just
even
yet.
unpacked. There's nothing.
Right.
Everything is still in suitcases.
Right. But how you feeling it?
Oh, I'm super happy. It's so, I don't know, it just feels like home, really. And the sea is nearby and everyone is pretty much nearby. So,
Now,
yeah,
yeah, now people keep
little
moving out here.
community.
You know, I like to say the big sexy moved to Benalmadena, and everybody said, "Okay, that's where we got to go."
Literally everyone is moving here now,
Yeah,
right?
the Barry Whites are like, "Oh, the Barry Whites are in Benalmadena, and they're teaching everybody how to play mahjong." So I guess we got to move out to Benalmadena and learn some mahjong. So welcome, you're all welcome to come out, leave the center, and come on out. And
Yeah, I haven't been to Sunday event yet, but I'm going this Sunday
yeah,
because I was promised a taco soup. So,
yes, my wife's famous taco soup. Listeners, you may have heard us talk about my wife's famous taco soup. And if you haven't, it's delicious. It's absolutely wonderful. And this is going to be the first time that she makes it from scratch, like all the ingredients from scratch. Because before we live in the States, we get, canned beans and, the canned ingredients, whatever. You pop all that canned stuff into the crock pot and let it simmer. And even that was delicious. But now we're going to, actually, when this is over, like literally today, I'm going to walk to the store and get the ingredients for this taco soup that my wife is going to make on Sunday, and I'm so excited. Oh, which reminds me, I got to give another big shout out to Kelsey. You guys all remember Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey, thank you from those 2 episodes. Kelsey went back to Boston, or at least went back to the United States for an event, and she returned with Kool-Aid
Oh,
and Skippy's peanut butter and seasoning for the taco soup.
ooh, nice. That's why we're getting to have to try it on Sunday, right?
Yes. Yeah. So another shout out to Kelsey. Hey Kelsey, thank you. Loving it. Do you miss being in center? I've only been here for one day, but do you have a feeling you're gonna miss being in the center?
No, center is not for me.
Oh no,
I
no,
know
no.
there are some city people, center people. I'm not. I like more the small city vibe and Friday morning markets, and yeah, it's kind of
That's your
that's
kind of
my
go
my
to.
vibe. Yeah,
Yeah, cool deal.
beach nearby.
Cool deal. Well, uh, hmm. You living in Benalmadena now.
Hmm.
Means you're a neighbor.
Yes,
Means you're close by.
kind of.
It means you don't have to 20-minute walk or a 10-minute bus ride or 5-minute bus ride really. We may have to have you here more frequently.
If you give me lunch as today, I'm every day I can be here.
Oh yes. When she came today, I cooked chicken and broccoli.
Amazing.
I promise. I'll make a promise that anytime you come through, we'll cook or we'll order something delicious.
Sounds good.
that would be enough to sign me up.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'm here anyway, but
Right.
if I were on the fence, that would push me over for sure.
Yeah. So I like that idea. Let's look at having you here all the time.
All right.
As a third. We should will Big Sexy Digital Nomad have a third host?
So we can record at my place sometimes. Just can change the surroundings a little bit.
Yes.
Go co-working space. I don't know. Find some nice places, coffee shops, anything.
Yeah, now that in person, you get the best of both worlds. You get an in-person adept. You get a female perspective on things. You've been doing this for years now, the digital nomading stuff, or the
Yeah,
traveling and
six
living
years, I
abroad.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 6 months in. You're 6 years in,
Mm.
and Judgmentalist ain't done none of it yet.
And I've moved like 10 times, I think, or more.
Right, and Judge's not planning on doing it. He good in Maryland.
Well, to be clear, there's an element to which, as the show picks up and starts to book out and about, that touring is like junior digital nomading.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Touring is very much living a digital nomad life.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you start staying
baby steps.
Oh, no, and that's how you're going to experience that. A lot of that travel is going. I mean, you've already done it,
right?
You already do it now, so right. So you get your travel basis in. I cannot wait till you go to Egypt. Like,
oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for those episodes, and we get to talk about that and chat about that.
That itinerary, and maybe we'll go through some of it next time, or in some future episode. I don't want to step on our guest here with it. We already have enough with other talk,
and we do have a digital postcard that we have to get through that we promised our friend that we would read their digital postcard today.
Right. Yes. Which reminds me, I've got to bring up that email, which is missing because my computer decided that today was the day that it needed to update. But I'm like, it's like the trip of a lifetime. Like the itinerary is ludicrous.
Is it a vacation? Is it more for a show, or?
It is. So before I started doing hypnosis, I was doing magic and mind reading, and I still do some of that. But there are a handful of companies that are like the major places that you go to purchase magic stuff, whether it be books or props or otherwise. And one of them, called Vanishing Ink, they do this thing. I think they started it maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, called The Retreat. So in addition to having these places that sell magic and people buy magic, there are also magic conventions a couple times a year. And normally a magic convention, let's say you and a significant other, one of you's into magic and the other one isn't, only the magic person's going to go to this magic convention because it's hours and hours and hours every day of being in lectures and being in seminars and stuff like that. Right. The other person doesn't want anything to do with that. And if it's not to a place where they can independently go and just explore and do their own thing.
If it's in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right. It's kind of, and there's some of them that are literally like in the middle of nowhere, Michigan or whatever, Columbus, Ohio, super exciting. So those are really just, especially for me, they're solo trips because the wife has no desire to have anything to do with any of that shit, especially like, and like with respect to like the big ones being in Vegas, that's all fine and good. There's plenty to do there, but it's not worth it for her just to miss the time from work and screw with the time change and everything like that. So she'll go on trips with me to Vegas, but not those trips. Because those trips are a little ludicrous because I'm up till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Vegas time, just, doing shit with people and whatever. It's a real just time warp. But what the retreat is, and they do 2 of these a year, they do one of them that's in the US and one of them that's international, where you basically, and we did this last year's retreat that we went on that was in the US was in Utah. We were at a resort. There was all of this touristy stuff to do because there's national parks and beautiful scenery, horseback riding, all this other stuff.
Do you ride horses?
I rode a horse. Yeah. I mean, it's not, I've done it before. It's not a regular thing that I do.
Every morning.
You're not hopping on the equestrian trail in Maryland?
No. And there very much are some. In fact,
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Every year, like literally 10 minutes from where I'm currently sitting, there are horses that are training, one or two of which will participate in the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, wow.
Like some of the horses, like I said, there's always one or two that are potentially, in those Triple Crown races that are training right here in Elkton. There's a big facility right up the street in a more rural area. It's actually kind of a big deal here. But yeah, it is. So there are magic lectures, but they take up such a small percentage of the time. So it's really geared toward, this is one where you can bring your significant other,
That's
even
so
if they're not
cool.
into magic, because there's really only going to be an hour or two each day where that, magic teaching happens and things and then they also do actual shows where they're not revealing things. So those significant others that want to know nothing about what's going on behind the scenes can take in and be entertained as well with the
Right.
magic side as well.
That's
So
an awesome idea.
they're super fun. They did one in Tuscany last year.
Ooh.
Egypt this year, 2023 was Tuscany.
Right.
And
they do 2 a year, so one in the U.S. and one international, or do they do like every other year?
2 a year.
2 a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do. So this year, so we went to the Utah retreat in August into September of 22. August into September of 23, they actually did a cruise to Alaska.
Oh,
so that's technically domestic. That one definitely did not fit.
I'd say that has a bit of both. I mean, at some point in time, you're in international waters.
Yeah. They Tuscany was the 23. I think that they did Costa Rica was the international trip in 22, but these things weren't on my radar at that time because I would have loved to have done that one. Egypt is an absolute must. Obviously, we're already signed up. The flights, although they might need to change, are booked.
Right.
No turning back from that. Probably even going to just close down the office for the week.
You get to be in different places, and it's more like with traveling, really nice for her, while you also get something out of it. So it's a really...
Yeah, because like I said, we'll share the itinerary later, but it's such a big tour of all sorts of stuff. That it includes a cruise down the Nile that's private and just our group. All sorts of fun stuff. The pyramids.
Cool. It's gonna be so amazing. I can't wait. And we'll be sure to throw that up on the Patreon and the social medias. And
there'll be so much stuff that
it's gonna be so kick ass. I love that kind of stuff. All right, well, let's get into our mailbag.
Yeah.
Since we missed it last week, we went off on a tangent and ran out of time.
All right, here we go. We got this. This is old, actually. We've been sitting on this for close to a month, so our apologies from ML Kennedy. We're not going to try to talk about ML Kennedy because that's part of what got us off on the tangent last time.
Right.
So here we go. At the beginning of this year, we decided to get together with some college friends in Nashville. This included 2 friends from Atlanta, Sawyer and Laura, and the 4 of us who live in Chicago, me, my wife, Jen, my BFF/podcast partner, Meredith, and her husband, Frank.
Hello, everybody.
So that's 6 people, 2 from Atlanta, 4 from Chicago, including ML Kennedy. Prior to the trip, the Chicago contingent started making some plans after watching the movie Megan.
Or we love calling it M3gan.
Yes, M3gan. Jen suggested that we all make family reunion shirts or something like that. She always dreamed of matching shirts at Disney, but doesn't necessarily need the Disney part.
Have your family ever done that, Joba?
We have worn matching shirts, but we haven't had them made. So it was more of we just
went to a store, bought all the same kind of shirt.
Yeah.
Has your family ever do that? Do you ever do matching shirts or
No,
matching
we
outfits?
barely meet each other. We matching shirts.
me
Maybe.
me and the wife always tease with the idea that we're gonna be like the matching shirt kind of couple. And we have purchased some shirts. We've had some made. I think we have worn matching shirts maybe once, not counting the family reunions, because we do it. We go to my family reunion always has the same matching shirt, so that's
Right.
usually given at a family reunion. But just the couple shirts once, and the shirt was two black skin tight jerseys, not skin tight, but it was skin tight to me. I was chubby. Jerseys. One said together, the other one said since. The together said 20, and the other one said 17.
Oh,
So back to
so
back, it
sweet.
said together since 2017. That was really cute. We wore that one time to a friend's party, so maybe 6 to 8 people saw that shirt.
What about Christmas ugly sweater?
Oh, my wife is now showing me. I did purchase other matching shirts. Have we worn this together yet? Okay, we apparently have worn this together. So I'm holding up for, if you're on the Patreon, you can see the shirt. It says Nandor and Naja and Laszlo and Colin, but not you, Guillermo. And that is a reference to what we do in the shadows. And if you got that before I said that, you're top notch in my book. If you needed that information, you need to fix your life. But I'm sorry, I get on the side chat. Let's finish the email.
So somehow the matching shirts spiraled into, let's make a t-shirt for a fake 5K, which further spiraled into, let's make a shirt for a fake 5K and not tell Sawyer and Laura that it's fake. So which is the two folks that are coming. As I try to, yes, I get to go back with my eyes and reread this and find out who's where. So I'm kind of narrating my iPad for everybody so that you can follow. So we had a tentative plan of springing these shirts on them that are shared VBRO, VRBO, Verbo, whatever, the alternate to Airbnb.
Right.
Letting them know that they've been signed up for a 7 a.m. fun run about an hour's drive away. Hilarious to a bunch of people who were coming off the high of watching a killer doll movie starring Brian Williams' daughter. But what could this 5K be for? We brainstormed some ideas for a bit before Meredith asked, well, what anniversaries are coming up? Me having a dark sense of humor and an IMDb-like brain said, this year will be the 20th anniversary of Jonathan Brandy's suicide. Meredith responded with whatever the white woman equivalent of Say No More Fam would be. No one thinks that she is serious. A week passes and we make more plans about the trip. Meredith sends out an email asking for t-shirt sizes. Sure enough, when we arrive in Nashville, she springs into action with a collection of 6 2023 Memorial 5K Jonathan Brandy Sequest DSV shirts.
Holy shit.
Sadly, that when given the premise of an early morning 5K to honor a fallen 90s heartthrob, both Sawyer and Laura underreacted, slightly bewildered and slightly indifferent. We gave up the ghost quickly. Still, the next morning, we all suited up in our 2023 Memorial 5K Jonathan Brandis Sequest DSV t-shirts and headed off to various and sundry Nashville locales, fighting swarms of bachelorette parties on drunken buses led by drag queens, visiting the Taylor Swift Education Center, and seeing the home of the Tennessee Titans, which almost has something to do with Warren Moon. It's true. Then we stopped at an oddity shop, the sort of place with witches' potions, swords, dead snakes, and taxidermied Wolverine for some reason. The man behind the counter stops us. What's up with those shirts? We freeze and attempt to explain the shirts as tastefully as possible. He seems to appreciate and asks us if we can take a picture. We agree. He then says, I'm friends with Jason Marston, who lives around here. You know who that is. IMDb brain strikes, and I say he's a voice actor. He's Max Goof from a Goofy movie. He was on an episode of Briscoe County. Oh, he was Eddie Munster in The Munsters today with John Shuck. The man behind the counter says, anyways, he was best friend with Jonathan Brandis and proceeds to give a bunch of details about the tragedy of suicide. and how no one knew he was depressed, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sending this picture to him. He's going to love it. So ever since then, I've followed Max Goof on Instagram, waiting for the day in which I will be publicly shamed on social media by a diminutive and beloved voice actor. The sword of Goofocles hangs over us all. ML Kennedy. And we've got a photo of most of the group in that oddity shop, which we'll post on the Patreon.
Yes, we absolutely will. That is fabulous. That is absolutely crazy and wonderful. Shout out again to Emma Kennedy. Thanks for that incredible story.
Absolutely.
That's how you do it. I love that a prank became this meaningful moment that you weren't aware about, and I hope that that you hear from is Jason Marsden, because I was thinking James Marsden, but no, that's not who it was. It's Jason Marsden. I hope he reaches out and acknowledges how awesome, how cool that is.
Jane, do you have any good commitment stories?
What stories?
Commitment. I know that's a new term for you.
Yeah, it is.
So commitment is when you do a joke or have a bit and you stick to it. That's commitment.
Yeah, I don't think so, to be honest.
Yeah. It's tough to like that. That isn't experiencing commitment. That is them going through with it. Even when it was busted, right? Like, man, whatever. Instead of like, let's still do it. Let's still go through with it all.
I mean, we had a good friends group, but I don't remember any time that we would do something like that. And I'm now wondering why.
Yeah. Soon.
Don't recall. Yeah.
Now that you're ready, then. Yeah, now that you're here in Benalmadena, we've been hanging out quite a bit. You'll start to experience commitment on a whole other level. So we have a story then. Yeah, cool. We'll have stories. Yeah. Well, again, thank you, Emma Katie. If you too want to send us a letter or a funny story about commitment, or you have a great T-shirt story, or you want to celebrate a dead 90s heartthrob suicide, feel free to write us at bigsexynomad@gmail.com. Send us your story. Hit us up on the social medias and all the places. You have any upcoming shows anytime soon there, Judge? Go to check out?
Well, we got booked back at Fifth Company Brewing, so we'll be there in February and in June.
Cool deal.
2 days from now, at the time of us recording this, but too late for anybody to attend and hearing this, will be at Cult Classic Brewing. Nice. Down where Matt Donnelly's brother lives in Kent Island. So that'll be cool.
So be sure, once you're hearing this, go ahead and swing on by our Patreon at bullwiththebutthole.com and sign up there, and you'll probably see some photos or maybe a small video of that event that we just talked about right now.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Jane, thank you again for coming over and hanging out and having lunch and being a guest on the podcast. And listeners, a little peek behind the curtain, though I said it as though it was an organic ideal. We have been talking to Jane a while about possibly being a third host on the podcast. And I will give all praise and credit due to my lovely wife, who hit me up with the idea. Had I thought about asking her to be a third host, and I was like, that's a pretty good idea there.
Well, today I was actually more of a listener, to be honest, because it's all new to me. So I guess it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah, today you're mixed. You're a guest. Now you're just a guest. Right now you're just a guest on the podcast. But we have to talk logistics and all that kind of stuff later and see how it works out and build that chemistry. So yeah, we look forward to. Again, I told y'all listeners, big changes are coming, big things are coming. We're making moves here at Big Sexy Digital Nomad, doing the thing. So in the meantime, safe travels.
Safe travels.